You know, we love to talk about anxiety. It plagues us at times, right?
Yes. Oh, yes.
But Erica, look, anxiety does other things to us. And I don't know if they're ready for it, but we gonna tell them, right?
All of it.
Okay.
Welcome to It's a Mental Thing, the podcast that dives deep into the power of the mind and the heart of mental health. Whether you're navigating life's challenges, seeking balance, or simply curious about how to care for your mind, you're in the right place. Each week, we explore stories, strategies, and expert insights to help you build resilience, find clarity, and embrace a healthier you. So take a deep breath and let's journey together toward a brighter, more mindful tomorrow. Welcome to It's a Mental Thing, because your mental health matters.
Okay. So symptoms of anxiety, right? If I'm thinking of myself when I feel anxious, I know the top things. My heart's palpitating. I'm shaky. I'm feeling nervous, maybe a little sweating. I don't know. But you know what? Probably the main thing that happens to me. I'm sorry, guys, but this tummy
Yes.
starts to rumbling.
Yes.
It's not good.
Yeah.
And this is what I always say. My stomach has rejected me today.
Really? I've
That's what
never heard that.
That's what I always say. I'll be like, my stomach's rejected me, so sorry, guys, can't go.
Is
Can't
it
leave.
usually because you're anxious or is it just random?
No, it's always when I'm anxious.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
And it took me a while to connect the two. Okay?
Yeah.
So we're going to talk here about symptoms of anxiety that aren't maybe something you would initially think of,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. Like that's today I printed out front and back 2 pages of information of symptoms of anxiety that we do not talk about. And I think it is because people are ashamed of it,
Yeah.
which for me in this profession, I have heard it all. All of it.
Yeah.
Like nothing really shocks me anymore.
There's no TMI.
No, at all. And I don't think my facial expression changes to like here. I've never heard it explained the way you've explained it. Your stomach rejected you,
rejects
right?
me, yeah.
But the truth is that is a huge part of anxiety.
Yeah.
It's the gut. And
But it's actually like a scientific connection.
There
right?
really is. And that's what I've printed out to read to our viewers and to you.
Okay.
So you can maybe make the connection because you're not alone.
Right.
And people are going to pretend it's not them. But
It's
it
happening,
is
people.
out there, and it's okay
Yeah.
to embrace it.
Yeah.
It's okay to say it, and it's okay to admit it because the gut and the brain are like best friends, and that's what we're going to talk about.
They're best friends and they cause mischief.
They cause just havoc in our life sometimes.
Okay, so talk me through
Mm-hmm.
this connection between the two of them, which is quite annoying to me.
Right. So, if I'm talking to our audience and if you've ever noticed like when you're super anxious, right? And your stomach immediately reacts. Okay. So maybe you feel nauseous. I hear that a lot. That's
Okay.
a common one, but we're not going to stick there. But we feel nauseous, bloated.
Okay.
Yes, even bloated.
Yes.
And some women think it's just women, but it's men too. But that bloated feeling, and then suddenly you're running to the bathroom.
You gotta go.
You got to go.
Yeah.
And so when you feel that way, we call it the nervous stomach, right?
Right.
And so we've heard that saying. Why wouldn't we assume that actually it's a nervous stomach, that
Yeah.
it's a real thing? But it is a real thing. So when you're anxious, you got to go.
Mm-hmm.
And it's that brain and gut connection that we're talking about here. The reason this happens is because of the gut-brain axis. So there is an axis from the gut to the brain that communicates with our digestive system and our central nervous system.
Okay.
So we've got our digestive system, then we've got our central nervous system, and they're somehow connected and they're communicating to each other, which is that I gotta go feeling. And then another thing I wanted to say is our gut actually produces 90% of our body's serotonin. And so that
Our
serotonin,
gut?
yeah, our gut it's 90% of the serotonin. And serotonin is usually it's that chemical in our brain that makes us feel good
Yeah.
or that happy. It's our mood regulation. And so when that's imbalanced and our gut health is imbalanced, it contributes to increased anxiety, which is then what causes the gut health to be kind of off balance, and then our brain and chemicals off balance.
So this is a vicious cycle.
Yes. And we actually will talk about that too.
Okay.
And so basically what I want you to kind of think of sometimes is our gut can act as if it's a second brain. And obviously it isn't. But when I say that, it's because what we put into our gut, obviously we want it to be healthy. We want it to be good. So what good we put in, good comes out. The same comes for our brain. What we put into our brain, we put in good. We want good to come out.
Right.
So if we know now that our gut and our brain are communicating through that gut-brain axis, why wouldn't we continue to put good things into our gut? Why wouldn't we continue to put good things into our brain? You know, some people will contribute things to, I just ate spicy food. Well, what did that spicy food do to your gut? Made you have to go.
Yeah.
And some people are running to the bathroom. Some people can handle it. But if it turns into someone who's extremely anxious, and we do need to watch what we're eating at times when we're in an anxious situation.
Right.
Because if that's not going to be good for us either way, why would we do that to ourselves?
Right. Just steer clear, right?
Right. Because now we know that there is a connection and there's communication between the two. So you're not alone. None of you who are feeling this gut instinct, you're not alone.
Yeah.
And so anxiety usually sends these distressed signals to our digestive system, which causes numerous things like the sudden urges to go that we've talked about, the nausea we've talked about, extreme stomach pain, bloating, and yes, gas. And
That's so interesting.
It's crazy.
Like you just wouldn't have known.
You wouldn't. And people just don't talk about it because they're afraid to come into like maybe a therapy session and say, when I'm extremely anxious, my stomach is out of whack.
Yeah.
And we hear it mostly with, let's say, kids. Okay. So kids don't have the words for anxiety.
Yes.
And what do you think kids mostly say when they feel upset?
I've got a stomach ache.
My stomach hurts. And so I've said this before. I wrote a book called I Have Worry Monsters in My Stomach.
Yes.
And I wrote it for kids, but it's because kids don't have the vocabulary to say, oh, I'm feeling anxious in this moment. My stomach is acting up. Maybe that's all that is.
Right.
Some people don't have the words and they just have the physical symptoms. And one of the number one physical symptoms is the stomach ache. And another one of these issues is because our physical symptoms will then get us all stressed out, get us all anxious. And then we're in fight, flight, or freeze mode.
Yes.
And then we're kind of anxious because what if we're in a meeting?
Right. Or we're stuck in car line.
And we got to go. So we have these different, what it's doing is it distracts our energy from our digestion. And then it triggers a lot of different things. So the nausea, the got to go, the bloating. So we're stuck in the mind game of what's happening up here, what's about to happen down here.
Right.
Okay. So again, you're not alone. It's definitely something that's real, but our brain and our gut, they're talking to each other a lot. So we've said this, I don't know, in the South, we say, I've got a gut feeling. Okay. So that may mean we're feeling good. We've experienced something fun. We've got the butterflies in our stomachs. But then what about when the role is flipped and we are experiencing something gut wrenching?
Right.
Okay. So that's something that we don't like. It's how the feeling in your gut can influence your decision making. Okay. So that is going with your gut. So we've got the gut feeling, we're experiencing good things, we're experiencing it mind and gut.
Yep.
I feel good. Things are happening good. Gut wrenching. I'm thinking bad thoughts. My stomach is hurting. Making a decision. I'm going with my gut. Okay. So we have all of these sayings, but nobody's ever put words to it as to how it's actually communicating to the brain.
Right.
So how can we sit here and think, I have these thoughts. It's a gut feeling. I have the butterflies in my stomach, and we don't think it's connected to our brain.
I guess it's just I've just never thought of it like that, right?
Right.
But putting it into words that way, I feel like would then help to kind of ground me.
Right.
Like when I am having those issues, whether it be a gut issue, like I can stop.
Yeah.
This is what's happening
Yes.
in the mind right now. Let's take a chill pill, right? And to know it's not just,
Right.
you know, and then start spinning out of control.
Right. And also, if for some reason, like we talked about, if 90% of our body's serotonin is running through our gut, and we've got to go. Excuse yourself and say, I'll be right back. I've got to go to the restroom. Go to the restroom. You'll feel fine.
Yeah.
And then you come back. Because if we're letting all that stuff run through our body and then we excuse ourselves, we go to the restroom, we come back, you will feel different. And I think some people are so afraid of that, which is why this is the part of the anxiety symptoms people don't talk about. But it's also a very real bodily function that everyone does, but some people who have true anxiety notice it more than others.
Right.
And that's why people think they may be alone, and they're not. So
Definitely not. You're not alone.
you're not alone.
You're not alone.
You're not alone in this.
We're with you.
Yeah. And so the brain communicates with our body. This is what I wanted to read to our audience. The brain communicates with our body through our nerves, our nervous system. But your brain and your gut are, like I said earlier, they're like best friends, okay? So weird, but true, research-based. They talk about all different things from like practical things, physical matters, emotional matters, but more information passes between your brain and your gut than any other body system. And so, in fact, there are more nerve cells in our gut than anywhere else in our body outside of our brain. And I know there's more research behind it, but that's what I know with mental health.
I'm going to need the two of them to calm down.
Yeah.
And just maybe be friends, but maybe not be such best friends.
They're communicating all day. And so again, that's where we have to focus on what we're putting in up here, healthy, mindfulness, what we're putting in here, good stuff.
Yeah.
What we need in the moment. So for example, anxious people, if we know we've got that nervous stomach, okay, if we're those people, we don't need a lot of coffee. Coffee is a stimulant. We don't need a lot of caffeine. That's going to stimulate our anxiety again. Sometimes the spicy food, if anything is going to irritate down here, and now we know down here in our gut is communicating with up here, and we are known to be an anxious person. And I'm speaking to myself. I am an anxious person, and I have experienced the nervous stomach, the butterflies in the stomach, the gut-wrenching feelings, the go with your gut, all of those things. They're all real. But now that you know that there's actually a connection between the two, we can talk about it.
Yeah.
You can think, oh, I don't have the stomach virus or a stomach bug.
Right.
But today was an anxious situation that I dealt with, and I had to go.
Yeah.
And again, we're talking about something that you may not want to be hearing this. I don't know. But I'm just bringing information that people don't talk about.
They are dealing with it too.
Yes.
And they're just not talking about it. So now y'all can talk about it with us anytime you want.
Yes. And it's a real, and no, you're not alone.
Yeah.
There is nothing to be embarrassed about it, because now you know through the anatomy, physical, emotional, actually mind and body connection, they connect.
Yeah.
Why? I don't know the science behind that. I just know the mental health component behind it. One other thing I wanted to mention is that when we know that things are going to happen, we can't pretend it's not there.
Yeah.
Okay. This again is with that gut instinct. Is if we know that our gut is going to do us wrong that day.
Yep.
Okay. It's because of maybe something we've got lined up. Maybe something we've got planned ahead of time. But if our digestive system is causing us the urge to go, the bloating, the stomach pain, the gas, that fight, flight, or freeze mode, and we've got to go, then we have to then get to that place, like you said, okay, Erica, this is a nerve-wracking day. I know what I'm going through. I know what my stomach is telling me. Let me take a couple of deep breaths. If you've got to go to the bathroom, go to the bathroom. Don't sit there and let your anxiety, because then what's going to happen is you're going to get more anxious and you're going to feel as though something is wrong. And really it is, you just need to release certain things that are bothering, whether it's emotional or if it's physical.
Yeah.
But the gut and the brain, just remember that.
Okay.
They're connected. Now I have some more weirder things we don't talk about, but they're not as, I guess, taboo or weird as the gut.
Okay. We're not as weird as like, I gotta go.
Right. I mean,
now. Okay.
Again, that was the big thing, because so many patients will come in to hear into my office and not mention it until I mention it.
Yeah.
But obviously we don't want to be anxious every day.
Yeah.
Have to go every day, because then we're losing nutrition. We're not getting the healthy. So we want to make sure everything stays in line and balanced, right? So there's a fine balance to the gut and the brain. But now we know they're connected.
I think so many people too will probably be diagnosed with IBS when it's really just more of that gut brain connection.
Every single time, Nicole, when I was in the school system, we write these things called 504 plans. And so when I would have a kid come in with high anxiety, and I knew they had high anxiety, every single time their parent was looking for something else, because they're always in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Whether they're vomiting, whether it's coming out the other end, whether they have a stomach ache, whether they're just complaining of their stomach hurting. Because like I said earlier, a lot of times kids don't know what the word is.
Right.
But they are, in fact, experiencing stomach pain.
Yeah.
They are, in fact, going to the bathroom. And sometimes they're not coming out of the bathroom for a while. But we know that, and you're right. Most doctors, these parents are taking these kids, or adults are going to these doctors to get their GI tract checked, to do an upper GI, to just see what's wrong. Their gut is clear, their intestines are clear, their GI, upper GI is clear, and there may be some inflammation, and that may be because they've gone a lot, because they're anxious. Other than that, there's no answer.
Yeah.
Always turns back to anxiety.
Yeah.
And so you're looking for these answers, and it turns into, and I don't want to say just anxiety, because it's a real thing. But when you're looking at your gut, think about what your brain is doing too. That's what I'll leave us with that one.
Okay.
And move to the next ones.
Give me
ready?
some of the next ones.
So another weird one that people may not even think about is yawning. And we're going to see how long we can talk about this before somebody in here starts to yawn.
About to yawn. I feel it. It's coming.
Don't do it. It's definitely contagious. But these are other physical symptoms that we just don't talk about, because we don't feel like they're really anxiety related. After, when I was writing this and doing the research, I yawned the whole time I wrote it. So it's fine.
But why am I yawning if I'm anxious? Because I do this. I know I do this.
You do yawn? Yeah.
Yes.
A lot of people do. And a lot of people don't even know that it's a side effect or a symptom of anxiety.
Like, I'll have big yawns.
And sometimes it's actually a side effect to an antidepressant or an anti-anxiety medication. And so when we're yawning, obviously, I hope I don't yawn during this. Obviously, what we're doing is it's a common reflex between our jaw and our mouth, and it's opening really wide, right? So when we take a really good yawn, it's opening wide. The jaw's opening. We're then taking the deep breath in, and then we're blowing it out quickly, right? So that's what a yawn is.
Yes.
Which, ironically enough, is a breathing technique that therapists teach others. Yes.
I belly breathe.
Now that's diaphragmatic and belly breathing, right? But a yawn is coming from here in our jaw.
But we're just trying to get
The breath
out.
Yes. And so when you're anxious, isn't it funny? There you go. Isn't it funny that our brain will say yawn and then we'll yawn? And what happens then is once we've taken that deep breath in and we've blown it out again, it's anywhere between 4 to 7 seconds. Okay. So that's what a yawn is. It's anywhere between 4 to 7 seconds. And the breathing technique, especially the ones that I teach, are 4 to 7 seconds. So it's very interesting that yawning is a symptom, but it's not uncommon.
It's just like your body knows what you need.
And it does.
It knows you need the breath, and it's like, we're going to do it this
Isn't
way.
Isn't it funny that our body tells us what we need? Yeah. And if we listen to our body, we can start healing and saying, okay, this is what I need.
Okay, I need some deep
but
breaths.
Instead of turning a yawn into a habit, what we need to do is practice the breathing technique, the belly breathing. So the 4 to 7 second rule. What I tell patients is you breathe in through your nose, 4 seconds, hold for a beat, and then blow out 7 seconds instead of just yawning, right? But that's what our body's doing. And so if we can do the 4 to 7 seconds belly breathing, that's going to prevent us from feeling like we always need to open our chest and breathe and yawn.
So then maybe if I'm noticing a situation where I can't stop yawning.
Yes. Take a moment.
Let's take a moment and belly breathe.
Yes.
So
4 to 7.
4, take a
4
beat.
in.
7 out.
And then I tell patients to slowly pretend like you're just breathing, like blowing that air out all the way back out across the room. Slowly, because we don't want to sit there and this is chest breathing.
Right. We're not chest breathing.
We want a belly breathe.
We want that belly to rise out.
Yes. And then
so
come back in.
I'm putting my
and that's a good practice. But that's what yawning is. And so yawning begins as it's so normal to us because it begins in the womb as early as the 11th week of pregnancy.
Does. Yeah. You can see them yawn.
Yeah. And so it starts at the 11th week of pregnancy and lasts a lifetime. So it's so common to us to just yawn.
Yeah.
But what we're really doing is our body is looking for that deep breath, that lungs, the lungs to expand and to dilate back for us to get that air that we're looking for. So yawning is another one. So we've talked about the gut.
Okay, we talked about
yawning
the gut.
Yawning is something else. Another one we don't talk about a lot is, before I get there, I want to tell you one other thing about the yawning is research tells us that when we yawn, it helps cool the brain down when it's warming up. And so what that means is yawning opens up the muscles in our skull and our jaw. So it takes all of this to yawn and it gives us more blood flow to the brain. So that's a yawn.
It makes sense.
And then yawning can cause us to breathe deeply. So that is what we're looking for when we're trying to catch that. I feel anxious instead of just we want to actually take the real deep breath. So when our brain,
not saying don't yawn.
You can yawn, but if you're in an anxious situation and it has turned into a nervous habit,
and you see it's the connection.
Yes, then we need to know. Let's deep breathe.
Okay,
4 to 7 seconds. Okay. The other one is called coughing anxiety.
Coughing?
Yeah. So people actually cough or clear their throat.
Oh, like a nervous,
like just a
okay. Oh.
That is, so it's a respiratory reflex. And so what happens here is anxiety can lead to coughing through muscle tension. So when people are anxious, we're usually tense. And then when we irritate the airwaves of clearing our throat, it triggers a cough reflex. And so if you now people are going to be hearing this all over the place. They're going to hear people clearing their throat. They're going to hear people coughing. Maybe they're nervous, but it's their way of having a reflex from their respiratory system. Again, the breathing part. So if they're doing a lot of chest breathing, it's going to cause the chest to hurt. It's going to then cause their throat to get irritated, the airway to get irritated, which then causes a cough reflex. And so a lot of times that happens. Have you ever had a coughing fit where then you like break out into a sweat?
Yes.
You can't stop coughing and then you get a little anxious about your coughing fit? Usually that's what that is.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then the last one, which is more common, is the chest pain. that comes with anxiety.
Yeah.
So this one is a little more common, but it's chest discomfort. And usually this comes with breathing, because if we're breathing from the chest, all of these are ribs and all of these are muscles, and we're causing that pain and we're irritating this area. If we're just breathing down here, we're not going to have the chest pain as much as we would if we're constantly just chest breathing. So what we're looking at here is the contraction of the chest walls, muscle strain, usually due to like hyperventilation. Again, that chest breathing, that heavy, fast breathing. A sudden spike in blood pressure and a heart rate that we've talked about earlier, which then causes the chest pain. Hyperventilation, though, contracts blood vessels, causing like actual considerable chest pain. So we really want to check in on our breath work when we have chest pain. Obviously, to clear like mental health and medical clearance, if you are having true chest pain and other symptoms that could be related to other chest pains, left arm pain, left shoulder pain, chest pain down here. It's not always a heart attack.
Right.
But people who have anxiety or panic attacks truly feel as though that chest pain is going to cause an anxiety attack, a panic attack, or a heart attack.
Right.
Because they're just in such the mindset of the pain that they're feeling. But usually what is causing it is the cortisol level and the adrenaline rush that we're getting. And that's just like a huge boost of energy so quickly that then causes the tightness of the chest.
Yeah.
And so that one is more common for people to talk about. But just hear me say, every time you have some sort of chest pain or even a heart palpitation or heart flutter, sometimes you feel something's wrong.
Yep.
And that's what anxious people want to think.
Yep.
But take a moment to take your deep breath. But for medical clearance, if you truly do have chest pains, make sure you're always checking with your doctor to see what that chest pain is about.
I get the heart palpitations, the flutters.
Yes.
And I have to truly just stop and do my breath work.
Yeah.
Breath work is so important.
It really
PS,
is.
If you have not done it before, highly, highly recommend, because it fixes a lot of issues when you're having those anxious feelings.
And it's
really
one of the
does.
most common things that calms our nervous system back down is because we actually, when our nervous system is out of whack, our self-alignment is out of whack.
Yeah.
But when we can take those deep breaths from the belly, we're calming our nervous system back into alignment to where we can think clearly. And that's what anxiety robs us from.
Yes, it does. And I love that we're talking about these little known symptoms. And look, I'll get on rabbit trails on TikTok too of like finding these videos of, it'll be doctors too, and they'll be like, these are symptoms of anxiety that you probably didn't know about.
Yes.
And they'll say it and I'll be like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize that, but I do that, right? But bringing awareness to that, now when I do start noticing I'm doing that, then I can go into my coping mechanisms that me and my therapist have talked about. And it grounds me a little bit more.
Well, and it's comforting to know I'm not alone.
Yeah.
I've got the upset stomach.
Yeah.
I'm yawning. I'm coughing. I have the chest pains. Those are the ones that we just don't talk about. Most people assume anxiety is I have a racing heart, racing thoughts, sweaty palms, shaky.
Yeah.
I can't stop my thoughts at night. I think really quickly. Those are things that we just associate anxiety.
And it is all that.
It is that.
But it's
the
so
little
much
things, the little things that you either don't want to talk about or that aren't being talked about are those big four things that we just listed. So we've got the gut. Yawning, cough anxiety, chest pain. Those are some things that most people know are somewhat related, but they're not talking about it. Because if we say chest pain too, we're scared.
It's scary.
It is very scary, which is why I want you to be medically cleared for that too. But the yawning, the coughing, and the gut, those are things that people just think maybe I have IBS.
Right.
Maybe I have just a yawning tic. A lot of people will say that. Maybe I just have an itchy throat. But maybe it's just connected to our anxiety and our thought patterns.
Maybe. Okay. I would love to hear if people have other symptoms that they'd like
I know.
us to dig into.
Yeah, there are tons. And some of the ones I wrote: anger,
Oh, yeah.
oversensitive, not being able to speak in the moment of anxiety. So like if you're having an anxiety attack, sometimes you can't verbally say, oh my gosh, I'm anxious in this moment. X, Y, and Z has happened. We can't speak. Doing things really quickly. I have found myself where I'll have to say, hey, Erica, stop, finish your task, start this again. And that's why ADHD and anxiety are misdiagnosed because our brains are going so fast. Headaches and dizziness, that's another one. That's a pretty common factor for anxiety that people don't really associate with anxiety, but kind of comes with it. And then achy muscles. That's an anxiety symptom. And why do you think that is? What is your first thought? Yes. Yes. That is, I mean, there's so many things.
Do you know what mine is?
What is it?
It is like clockwork. I'll feel myself getting stressed about something. And the knot in my neck on this side specifically, chew.
Yeah.
And there you go. And
because we walk we're like this all the time. Yeah. We have to learn to relax, shake it off. Girls I'm at a masseuse once a month.
What am I doing?
What, do you not go?
No.
You need a massage once a month.
All right. I'm going to go get a massage. Eric is so helpful. She's so helpful for so many things, right? Look, if you want to talk even more about symptoms, let us know. We would love to know your thoughts.
Absolutely.
Too, because this is all so
and everybody's is so different.
Yeah, it is. And I think other people connect in different ways. And let's talk about the stuff that nobody else talks about, right?
Yes.
All right.
Be sure to follow our podcast on your favorite platform or find us on YouTube. Just a quick note. It's a Mental Thing is here to inform and inspire, but it's not a substitute for professional medical advice. If you're facing a mental health challenge, we encourage you to seek help from a licensed therapist like Erica or a healthcare provider.